All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, reporting in for a Battle Force breakdown again. So I know that there were some points changes to the arcs, and they are cheaper. So I wanted to kind of come out with an updated 501st bunch of lists, I guess you could say. So I'll go ahead and go over some housekeeping real quick. So if you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord. There you're going to be able to talk with us and or anyone, honestly, especially like Kylar or Canadian Bear or me or Emperor Atlantis or the Chosen One or any one of you guys. You know, there's a lot of people on here who definitely have a lot to say, which is awesome, and post a lot of their really cool list ideas. The TT Creative Prints, this was pretty cool. You know, having the Landspeeder R2D2 with Castian, K2, and a good Rebel gun line seemed pretty fun. Being able to kind of look at the different Yoda builds that Kyler likes and the different meme lists or other things that, you know, Canadian Bear likes to do, which is always fun. I love his lists. Or any work in progress that you're doing right now. So Squiddo has a little bit of piping going on that they are trying to build. Basically, just get a bunch of steel pipes and put them together, and even the Dark Nut putting up the finally built droids. Yeah, so it's awesome. Again, if you do commission painting, feel free to join up and post your commissions or stuff that you do, so people can get a good look of what's going on and the things that you decide to do for everybody. And head on over to the Clan of Shadows. We're going to be able to get a bunch of videos early. I'm trying to start this one really early, so that way, you know, just in case you guys wanted to check this out, you can. And if I needed to, you know, post it for any other reason, I can. But yeah, this is, you know, just to be able to help me and giveaways and anything in the future. And again, hoping for some bat reps. You know, it's just a matter of timing right now. And there is a guy here who does play, which is really awesome. But it's a matter of me trying to find time between businesses and life and other stuff like that. So yeah. And also, head on over to the Burn Academy for $15 a month. You can download the app. You can get 3, 4, 5, and 6-day week workout programs. You get a corrective exercise program. You get 30-minute torture program just in case you're short on time. And if you're short on days, I think it's only like anywhere between at least 2 to 4 days a week. You know, abs and cardio future programs that I come out with, 120 different recipes, which all include like vegan or keto or Mediterranean, anything like that, and ways to track your progress. If you need to change up your routine in the gym and or get ready for the new year, this is the best app that you can download right now. And yeah, and if you want, at least you can go ahead and sign up to be on the email list, and I'll be doing a newsletter soon for everybody who is signed up for that, so they can kind of get a better idea of what I do and how I do it, just in case you're interested. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the 501st Battle Force. Basically, there's a special rule, really. So during army building, you can include one ARC Trooper strike team for each non-strike team ARC Trooper unit in your Battle Force. So you're allowed up to 4 Special Forces units. So you could technically have 4 fully loaded ARCs. You're not going to have that great of a rest of your list, and it's going to be really low. But, you know, 3 ARCs and a Sniper Strike team, because you have at least 1 full ARC unit. So you could technically have 2 full ARCs, 2 strike teams, but you just can't have 4 strike teams. That's basically all it's saying. Now, the allowed units are Anakin Skywalker, Clone Captain Rex, and a generic Clone Commander. The only corps you're allowed are Phase 2s. Special Forces, you're only allowed ARC Troopers. You can have strike teams, again, like I said, if you have a full ARC squad. You are allowed an AT-RT or BARC Speeder. And the LAAT LAT you can have as the heavy. And you can only have Echo N5's unique upgrade cards. So the rank requirements, so for commander and operatives, each army must include 1 up to 2 commanders. Basically in the army, at least 1 unit must be a commander unit. Well, there are no operatives that they've got right now in the 501st, which is, you know, I don't know why they don't include R2D2, because in the Clone Wars animated series, I think it's season 7, when Anakin just walks out onto the bridge and says that he surrenders, and all the 501st have their jetpacks underneath the bridge, and they wait for the TAC droid to come out, and Anakin basically takes care of him, and then they all start fighting, and the 501st start, having their jetpacks and woo, all the way throwing grenades. Awesome, by the way. R2D2 is there and helping, and R2D2 is always with Anakin for the most part, so I'm surprised they don't have at least just R2D2 as an operative in this battle force, because it would also go great with the fact that you have to include 1 to 2 support units, and they are vehicles, so that would make for at least having to have a support unit a little bit more bearable, because then you'd be able to at least heal it a little bit more with R2D2 and gain the secret mission. So I think hopefully one day they will add that, but I don't know. And then each army must include at least 1 up to 4 core units. So yeah, you can have just 1 phase 2 unit in here and get through it. Each army must include 1 up to 4 special forces units, and then like I said, you have to include at least 1 to 2 supports, and then you may include up to 1 heavy. So you're not really looking at a very high activation battle force. You're looking at anywhere between like 8, 9 activations. So, and with GAR, that's not bad. And with the pass rule, it's really not bad. And, for skirmish requirements, you have to include 1 commander. And for the core, you have to include 1 up to 4. And then for special forces, you again have to include 1 to 4. Supports, supports, you may include up to 1 to 2 supports in the skirmish requirements. But you have to in the 800 points, and then you may include a heavy as well in there, but that would be pretty tough building. But yeah, okay, so they also have their own command cards. So I'll go ahead and just real quick talk about those again. So lead from the front is technically supposed to be a 2-pip, but they've made it into a 1-pip. You're only giving it to a commander. And so after a friendly commander is issued in order by this card, you can choose 3 other friendly units within range 1 of that commander that you chose, and then each chosen unit gains an aim or a dodge token. Now, again, they've cleared it up, and you have to be literally within range 1, not at range 1. So if you have phase 2s right next to Anakin, and one of their minis is outside of range 1, you can't do it, because it has to be friendly units within range 1, and that unit technically is not fully within range 1. And this is a great card, again. I think even Mike Berry had mentioned this before, that if Anakin's flaw card is played, you're probably going to want to play this one, because you could still give Anakin a dodge if he's within range 1 of the other friendly commander. So that's at least a good way to get a dodge onto him. And then tactical planning. So tactical planning is a 2-pip. So after a friendly support or special forces unit performs an attack against a unit that has a face-up order token, you can shuffle that token back into its order pool. So this is really cool. It's basically just like the Empire's 2-pip. I can't quite. Pin down. Haha, I remembered. So yeah, it's just like a pin down, where if you shoot at a unit with a face-up order token, they have to return it to the order pool, which is a really nice. And then Leaders of the 501st is a 3-pip, and it's a permanent, and you can give it to 3 special forces or core units. So after friendly units at range 1 to 2 of a friendly Anakin Skywalker and or a friendly Clone Captain Rex, if they're within that range 2 of either of them, they gain Indomitable. So you're going to be able to roll red defense dice to get off suppression instead of white defense dice. So it's not a bad card at all, and it really can help with suppression. And yeah, that's really the extra little command cards that you'll get with the 501st box. So yeah, I've enjoyed kind of creating more lists with the 501st box, because I really want to get one myself, along with 2 specialist boxes just to kind of start out with, and then eventually, get Yoda and Padme and some phase 1s and stuff like that. But I think this is a perfectly great battle force to even just start out right out of the box. So I'll go straight at it. So there's 2 different 501st defensive lists that I really like, and I'll go ahead and explain. So Anakin Skywalker with Force Barrier, Push, Offensive Stance, Defensive Stance, and Tenacity. His command cards, one of his command cards is 1-pip, allows him to gain Outmaneuver and Relentless, so he's going to be able to cancel crits with a dodge token. You also have a clone commander with Lead by Example and Recon Intel. so that the clone commander can get rid of any of the suppression that Anakin might get. And recon intel to just make sure that everyone except Anakin, so literally 7 other units, have scouted up except for Anakin, so Anakin's the only one that's going to need to move. But it's really nice that they can all start outside the deployment zone, closer to wherever they need to be. And then, the clone commander can either bolster or even bolster and take a dodge. And then Anakin, after you play his 3-pip and then his 2-pip, he's going to have Exemplar, Reliable 2, and then Defend 1. And so when you really load him up after those 2 cards and he takes a dodge action, which will give him 2 dodges, he'll have 3 dodges on him, 2 surge tokens on him, and then, he'll have Force Barrier, which means that you can cancel even more crits or hits just in case. So it's really defensive. I've got 2 phase 2 clone troopers with the mortar, the clone medic, situational awareness, and recon intel for both of them. Mostly the reason why I've got the 2 phase 2 clone troopers in there is to set up a fire support, because the clone commander's got direct, so he's going to be able to give an order to one of the phase 2s. And the other reason is because I wanted 2 medics in here just to be able to heal back some ARC troopers that really need it, or, heal Anakin if he takes an early wound. And then again, recon intel on them to be able to get them closer so that you don't have to necessarily move and then shoot, because the mortar is cumbersome. So you're not going to be able to move and then shoot, but you can technically shoot and then move. Or maybe you take a shot, it's critical 1, and maybe you didn't take an aim because maybe one of the arcs went first, because anytime they move, they've got tactical 1, so they can aim through moving. And then maybe you shoot with the phase 2, and then you take a dodge, which gives you even more dodges to share around, because every single unit except for the ATRT's got situational awareness. Then I've got 2 full arcs with situational, and then an arc strike team with echo, situational, and emergency transponder for that extra aim for lethal just in case he needs it. And then I've got the ATRT with the laser cannon on there. 1, because it's the cheapest option, and 2, because you have no way of getting impact anywhere else in here except for Anakin whenever he goes in with his melee attack. Now, there is a way that if you wanted to, you could probably get rid of Force Barrier and put Saber Throw on there, which will give you 5 extra points, and maybe you give the clone commander the Seize the Initiative for 5 extra points so that you stay at 800 to break ties and possibly win that game. And then at least, with Seize the Initiative, if you do play maybe Synchronized Offensive, you have to give it to a clone trooper. So maybe when you play Synchronized Offensive, you give it to the ATRT, and then you give it to one of the phase 2s, and then the clone commander gives the other phase 2 an order. And so now you've got only commanders and special forces in the order pool. And again, everyone's got situational awareness for just great defense options. So yeah, and everyone can also hide, not everyone, but you can hide behind the ATRT for a line of sight blocker, just in case. And even the ATRT has Scout 1. So yeah, that's really nice. I've had a fun time playing this list. It's pretty hard to get shots through after you've done at least Anakin's 3 and then 2-pip. And then again, the clone commander bolsters and dodges, or moves and dodges if you need to, or moves and bolsters, whatever you got to do. And then yeah, it's not bad. Again, you're probably looking to try and take dodge actions, which is going to hurt your offensive output. And just in case, real quick on just something very, very similar, I've got basically the same exact build, except I only have 1 phase 2 with the mortar, situational, clone medic, and stuff, and then I've got 3 arc troopers, full 3 arcs, and then a strike team with echo, and then again the ATRT with the laser cannon, still giving you 8x, still giving you 800 points, and still giving you, or everyone, situational awareness to be able to cancel those crits with dodges. And then you're going to have a little bit better order control because you only have the 1 core, which gets an order every single turn with direct. So then the only thing left in the bag is your support, and then your commanders and your special forces, and that's just without an order. And then when you do give an order, and maybe used Synchronized Offensive, you can give the ATRT the order, the clone trooper already has an order here, and then maybe you give it to the strike team. Or maybe you give it to, I'd give it to the strike team, because then you leave both of the commander tokens and the bag, giving you a higher chance of drawing one if you need it, or, changing the tenacity to seize the initiative will bring you down to 799, and then maybe if you took lead by example out, you could. That'd give you 9 extra points to kind of do with what you needed. Or maybe you do, let's see, since that would be 9 points, maybe, yeah, there's other things that you could probably do with it. I don't want to sit here necessarily and do that, but you can change these if you want. I always leave the lists in the description down below just in case anyone's ever interested in trying to take one of these lists and mold it how they kind of play with their playstyle. But I always wanted to at least do that thanks to Emperor Atlantis's suggestion from when I very first started. But yeah, this is just another way to have situational awareness on everybody, and you just took away one phase 2 to give yourself an extra ARC Trooper, giving you a ton of Special Forces units. So that's really nice to have, and then you're still set up for a fire support shot because your clone troopers, your phase 2s, will always have an order basically every turn near the clone commander. So they can always, shoot with their phase 2 mortar in critical 1 alongside the DC-15 because it's range 4, up to range 4, and your DC-15s are range 5, but maybe your phase 2s were able to move up into a way where they could have the same, or the shot, making you roll, a red and 3 black, critical 1, and then lethal. So that's not bad, and suppressive. They're both 8 activation lists, though. So you just have to be careful. Pass gives you basically almost 9 activations, but that's really it. Let's take a look at another 501st list that's a little bit more offensive and not as defensive. Again, Force Barrier. Again, you can change this to be more so, Saber Throw to give yourself that extra range 2 impact on him, giving you 5 extra points that if you really wanted to, you could do Seize the Initiative on the Clone Commander. And then, so I've got 5s in here with the Clone Medic on one of the phase 2s, and then I've got another phase 2 with the Mortar, Medic, and Recon Intel. So that way, the Clone Commander gives the direct order to 5s, who then directs to the other phase 2. So then both of your core units have a face-up order token basically every single round. Again, setting you up for 2 different fire support options and leaving you able to, with Synchronized Offensive, give it to the ATRT and then maybe Echo Strike Team. And then you have 2 full arcs and then 2 commanders left in the bag. So you're almost having good order control. Maybe instead of Seize the Initiative on the Clone Commander, if you wanted improvised orders on there, that could actually be a really good idea. But then you've got pretty stacked firepower because all the personnel is technically upgraded. So you're going to have, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 black coming from these guys, and then 6 black, possibly 7 black coming from these phase 2s, and then your ARC Troopers at range 2, tons of dice. So it's really nice that you can roll 10 dice with them at range 2 if you have everybody, because that's 4 in the entire unit, 5 in the entire unit, so, and they would roll each 2 dice at range 2. And then I've got targeting scopes on both of the full arcs, because they're going to obviously generate an aim, and then maybe someone else had generated an aim at some point in time instead of dodges, and then you just spend one of the aims for targeting scopes and the other aim for, lethal. Especially when you get close and you're rolling a black and you're rolling 4 black, 4 white, and then another red and black. So a red, 5 black, and 4 white. That's a lot of dice. And then maybe you fire supported. So you're going to need those aims, and then targeting scopes when you're fire supporting is awesome. So that's another way. It's another 8 activation list, but again, with pass and the ability to just maneuver behind the ATRT and cover and stuff like that, it's not bad. And red die saves can be good, and with, the 2 phase 2s generating surge token to kind of help with the arcs, and then maybe bolstering, and then reliable 2, you've got plenty of surges to have somewhat Mando saves. Or even better offense, just kind of up to you. But yeah, this is a little bit more offensive, still keeping 2 of the clone core, so that you can gain 5s in there and always have good order control for fire supports. Here's a 501st arc that's offensive again, but includes 1 less phase 2 and 1 more arc. This time, Anakin's got Force Push, Saber Throw, sees the initiative, and Tenacity. That way he can get that order when he needs to, especially whenever you play Synchronized Defensive. Again, maybe you give the ATRT the order, and then you give maybe the Clone Commander in order. You seize the initiative on Skywalker so that you've got no more Commander tokens in the bag, and then your only support is out of the bag, so the only thing left is your special forces, because the phase 2s right here are going to get an order from direct, and then you can, with 5s, give an order to the strike team, leaving you with just 3 special forces in the bag, because yeah, that's awesome. And then even with Attack of the Clones, you're giving it three guys, so maybe you give it to the ARC troopers here, but all 3 of them, the Clone Commander is going to direct an order to the phase 2s, and then 5s can give that extra order to the ARC strike team. So every one of your special forces and your core have an order, so the only thing left in your bag are 2 commander tokens and the ATRT. And then even with Attack of the Clones, you get to gain you get to either gain a surge or remove a suppression, which is really nice, especially since you don't have the lead by example with Inspire or the other 3-pip Battle Force specific card that allows everyone at range 1 to 2 of Anakin to have Indomitable. And then also the phase 2 have the Clone Medic, Recon, and Impact grenades, again because you're kind of short on impact besides the laser cannon, the saber throw here, and then if anyone gets too close, you can use the phase 2's impact grenades. And that's another 8 activation list for the 501st. I keep seeing the 501st and saying 5 for some reason, so I apologize for that. All right, let's take a look at Rex, because we rarely see Rex, and it's not that he's bad, but Anakin's just better. I mean, let's face it. If you want a fun list, though, these 2 can be very fun. Now, I've got offensive push on here. You're welcome to change it to Hunter, but the reason I have offensive push on here, he's got tactical 1, so when he moves once, he's going to gain 2 aims, and then he's got Gunslinger, so he can shoot 2 different targets. And then his 3-pip, the We're Not Programmed, allows him to recover for free, so he can get back the offensive push to do the same thing again, or just in case you need to generate more aim tokens for your ARC troopers, who all have targeting scopes, you could just tap offensive push, move twice, generate 4 aims, and then you definitely maybe move once with an ARC trooper, and that gives you an aim for them, and then they shoot, and you've got 5 aims to use for any of that. He's got the jetpack rocket because it's only 5, and he gains the jump 2, which is really nice to have to get rid of, or to get past, difficult terrain or anything like that. I've got a Clone Commander with lead by example to make sure that you actually have some Inspire. He's also got Recon Intel. The phase 2s have the Mortar, the Clone Medic, and Recon Intel that they can have at least Scout 1. So all of your units, including Captain Rex, have Recon Intel. You might not necessarily need both Recon Intels on the phase 2s, because maybe you just use Captain Rex and Scouting Party to move up the phase 2s a Scout 2. And then maybe you've got 4 points extra so that you can give maybe you've got 4 points more. Situational awareness, would be 4 points. Or maybe you give the Echo Strike Team the environmental gear, and then maybe you give, an emergency transponders, we'll take that off, and now you've got another few points left. Let's see, you got 8 points. Oh, okay, so if you wanted to have Scout 3, technically on everyone, you can give all of the arcs, Recon Intel, and then that would give you 800 points, not activations. Scout 3 for all of them, Scout 2 for Captain Rex and the phase 2s, and then just Scout 1 for the Clone Commander, and then the Bark Speeder obviously is just going to move pretty fast. But that's a good way to be able to get some extra points around. If you didn't want Recon Intel for, Scout 3, because again, even Kyler was mentioning this in the Discord, which is really cool, that you would be able to start a little bit better off on the objectives or near the objectives with the Scout 3. You don't actually have to do anything moving wise, you don't scout and then move and then claim. You're basically already there. You still have to move and claim, but Scout 3 can be really nice. Again, if you don't want recon intel, then just go with environmental gear to give you unhindered, so that way it's a lot easier to get where you need to get with the arcs and ignore that difficult terrain. But that's just up to you. I'll go ahead and just do that for everybody in the description down below. In case you do want this list, they will all have unhindered. So that'll be something extra for you guys. Yeah. All right. And that's, again, 9 activations, which is pretty awesome. And then you have, Call Me Captain, Synchronized Offensive. You got Take That Clankers and Lead from the Front, which technically will be the 1 pip, and then you can give it to Rex, and then everyone else can get those dodges. And basically everybody is sharing the tokens. And yeah, I mean, the reason I have the Bark Speeder in there is mostly just to get ahead, maybe even start fire supporting stuff, or start the fire supporting shot from one of the phase 2s who have at least the range 4 so they can make it. And they'll be, scouted up at a speed 2. And then the other 501st is something very similar, but in this one I've got 2 phase 2s with the mortar and 3 arcs, and then this one I've got 3 phase 2s and 2 arcs. One of the phase 2s has 5s and a clone medic. The other 2 phase 2s have the phase 2 mortar and the clone medic. And then there's 2 arcs, full arcs, I should say, with the DC-15 and arc strike team with Echo, and then a Bark Speeder. This time, Captain Rex has aggressive tactics, offensive push, in the jetpack rockets and recon. That way, he can give out a little bit more of the surge tokens. So basically, with Call Me Captain, it's just technically him, and then the clone commander is going to give a direct order to 5s, who will direct to anyone else, maybe another phase 2, or maybe even to Captain Rex himself, because it just says coordinate clone trooper. Doesn't have to be a core. So then, well, I guess if you're just giving it to Captain Rex, I should say, he's going to get an order, and then the 5s will get an order, and then he can give it to maybe the other clone commander, so that you've got no clone commander tokens in the bag, and then every one of them have a surge token. And even with the other 1 pip, Synchronized Offensive, you're giving it to the Bark Speeder, and then you're giving it to another clone mini, which could be Captain Rex himself. And aggressive tactics is just friendly units. So technically, you could give that surge token to the Bark Speeder, who could use it on defense because they surge offensively. Then you'd be able to use the clone commander to give it to 5s, who could possibly give another order to the commander again, so you have no more commander tokens in the bag, and you've only got some core and special forces, so that's not bad. And then again, you're giving out a ton of aggressive or surge tokens through aggressive tactics, because Captain Rex is basically always going to be the one handing out tokens, or orders, I should say. And this is another 9 activation list. It's $7.99, so it's not quite the 800. You do get the bid, so that if you did want to play either hostage, payload, recover, or intercept, you could. The reason I have hostage exchange in here is because of Captain Rex's scouting party. You'd be able to scout him up Scout 2, and then you'd be able to move one of these phase 2 clone troopers that are in the middle holding hostage, a speed 2, basically away from where they are now. And then with the clone commander being able to direct, maybe you give, instead of 5s, the order, I guess you could actually still give it to 5s. You could give it to the phase 2 that's the hostage unit, and then you just double move them again. I wouldn't fire, and then basically you've got the rest of your entire gun line to go after whoever's coming this way. There's lots of chances and reasons why I've got the hostage exchange with Captain Rex, even though there's no force user in here. It's because, the best gun line, I feel like, is in GAR because of the token sharing and the amount of fire support and dice they're going to be rolling. So yeah, I think that they could hold their own if they needed to. And that's all the 501st lists that are needed. Technically, if you wanted here, I'm going to make one with you guys. This is just a little fun thing. Since I was just thinking about this, you only need the 1 phase 2, so maybe we just use 5s and a clone medic, and maybe with Scouting Party, we won't necessarily need the Recon Intel, but then let's go with Rex and a Clone Commander. Again, specifically to be able to give out that order when we need it. Let's give Captain Rex the aggressive tactics, and then let's give him the offensive push again, just because, and then we'll give him his jetpack and recon intel. Clone Commander, let's just leave by himself right now, because he's pretty decent alone. We must have a full arc squad in order to bring a strike team, and with the full strike, or with the full arcs, we're going to give the regular DC-15. We're going to go 3 of those bad boys. We're going to have Echo on one of them. We have to include another, we have to include a support. And I'm actually going to go with the ATRT with the laser cannon for that extra impact, because you're going to probably need it. And then, hey, maybe let's go with another phase 2 and give them a clone medic. So now you still have 9 activations. And yeah, I guess I was trying to see if I could just make it to where they would only have 1 of these guys, but I guess you could technically, if you wanted, still only have the 1 guy there and do 2 of the ATRTs for that extra impact. And now you've got at least 2 ATRTs. You still have a ton of ARC troopers and a strike team. You've got the phase 2 with the clone medic and 5s. You've got 5 more points that you can do with what you want. So in case you did want improvised orders, you could do improvised orders. And yeah, might as well. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'll leave this one down in the comments as well. This gives you Rex and 3 full arcs, a strike team, commander, a phase 2, clone trooper with 5s. So that way, anytime that he gets the order from direct, he can give it to whoever you really need it to be. And yeah. But that's really it, guys. Hopefully this was helpful and gives you some extra ideas of what you can use and what to do with your 501st list. They're pretty hard hitting. I feel like they're pretty slow because you want to keep them in a ball and either moving and shooting or moving and taking some sort of token like a dodge token or an aim token so that the other guys can become more effective with it. Or you're trying to leave the phase 2 clone trooper open for a fire support. It's just when you have 1 like that, you kind of limit the fire supporting availability, which is why sometimes I like to have the 2 phase 2s. But if you like the ARC troopers, then this is the definite battle force for you. Just like the Shadow Collective, I can take as many Mandos, up to 4 Mandos. But yeah, I like these. I like this 501st a lot more. But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that you like this video. Definitely subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you've got any other suggestions. And then head on over to the Discord. Become a member. It's really easy. Post anything that you want to talk about, and or if you've got stuff that you are asking for. We love making lists and love talking Legion. And whenever I'm between jobs and stuff, I like posting. So feel free to join up in there. Head on over to the Patreon where you can become a member, even as low as $1 a month. That would be very helpful. And it would be really nice to be able to help out the channel and do more for you guys. So yeah, definitely do that. And if you got more suggestions for the Patreon or anything like that, feel free to message me and talk to me about it. I'm happy to kind of do whatever I can to make you guys a little bit happier. And then head on over to burnacademy.com where you could subscribe for $15 a month. Especially getting ready for the new year, this is going to be a great opportunity to be able to get into the gym, know what you're doing, have workouts for the new year that are going to help. And I've got, weight loss programs and muscle building programs in case there's something specific that you want to do. Again, there's recipes there for you and stuff for at home just in case. So yeah, just let me know if you've got questions. And, if you need to contact me, you can sign up for the emailing list, I should say, right here by staying in the loop. So yeah, thanks guys. Hopefully you had a great week. Hopefully you have a great weekend. And then lastly, I want to shout out all of the Patreon members themselves. Anthony Estrada, the #1 guy. Thank you so much for everything you do. And then Kitsune, Emperor Atlantis, Daniel Padilla, and Tyson. Thank you guys for all of the donations that you make each month to make this channel grow. All right, guys, I will leave it there, and y'all have a great rest of your day.